allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Next I have is the approval of the agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. The approval of the minutes of September 28th.
I will move to approve the September 28th minutes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Approval of claims for payments totaling $83,865.60.
I'll move to approve last week's claims for payment.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Now I have, I'm going to say your name wrong. Try to read it.
Danielle Engel.
Danielle. For crisis intervention regarding Domestic Violence Awareness Month with a proclamation.
Sure, I'm going to provide just a brief update real quick first. So I'm Danielle with Crisis Intervention, Domestic Abuse Advocate, and Transitional Housing Program Coordinator for Hardin County. We did just get grant approval for our Transitional Housing Program for another 3 years. So we're in the process of kind of spending out Seeds of Hope money and transitioning into a fully CIS operated venture. So that'll be interesting as we kind of transition. We've been vacant for a few months as we're waiting to see what was going to happen with our funding. So we're going to probably be a slow process of adding people back into that housing program. Last year we served 164 survivors of domestic violence in Hardin County, and that was just the adult survivors. We actually served 265 people when you count the children as well that we were served. That's just our domestic violence services, not counting our sexual assault services. So we're still we have a lot of need here, and we're still plugging away at that, so that's what we do. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I do have a proclamation. I'll go ahead and read that, and then you can decide if you're going to declare that for Hardin County. So whereas home should be a place of warmth, unconditional love, tranquility, and security, for most of us, home and family can indeed be counted among our greatest blessings. Tragically, for many community members, these blessings are tarnished by violence and fear. And whereas domestic violence is more than an occasional family dispute, it is a serious crime that affects people of all races, ethnicities, ages, mental or physical abilities, socioeconomic status, religious backgrounds, and genders. And whereas the crime of domestic violence violates an individual's privacy, dignity, security, and humanity due to the systematic use of physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economic control or abuse. And whereas 272 adults and children have been killed in the state of Iowa as a result of domestic violence since 1995, and 164 survivors sought victim services in Hardin County this past year. And whereas children who grow up in violent homes are abused and neglected at a higher rate than the national average, and more than 4 million children in the United States are at risk for witnessing domestic violence each year. And whereas domestic violence costs the nation over $5 billion annually in medical expenses, law enforcement and court costs, shelters and foster care, sick leave, absenteeism, and reduced worker productivity. And whereas only a coordinated community effort will bring an end to this epidemic of crime and violence, and we as a community must address the problem of domestic violence in our homes and neighborhoods every day of the year. And whereas a coalition of organizations has emerged to directly confront this crisis, law enforcement officials, victim service programs, healthcare providers, the faith community, and other concerned citizens are helping in the effort to end domestic violence. We must recognize the compassion and dedication of these volunteers and professionals, applaud their efforts, and increase public understanding of this important social problem. And then the last part is where you would proclaim it Domestic Violence Awareness Month if you would like. So we'll let you handle your business on that. Or if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Hey, are there any questions?
No.
Appreciate what you do.
Yes, definitely.
We do have a new housing program that's been very beneficial. I guess I forgot to mention that. We received a $149,000 grant from HUD for 2016, where we are able to provide short-term rental assistance. We can pay past due utility bills, pay utility deposits, pay deposit and pay rent for up to 3 months. So that's helping people get reestablished, relocated, find a job, and be able to maintain housing, since housing has been such a barrier. I've done, I think, 5 housing applications in Hardin County this year and been able to house 5 victims and get them out of their abusive situation, so.
Being a teacher for 37 years, along with my wife, we see your need, so.
Yeah.
So, did you want to read that?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the proclamation against domestic violence.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Thanks for what you do. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Ron?
Aye.
Renee?
Aye.
Lance?
Aye. Motion carries. Nancy, do you have a copy of this?
I don't.
I'm going to have to keep this.
Oh,
Instead.
yeah.
Okay.
If you want, do you want a copy?
I need a copy of that, yep.
Okay. I'll get a copy.
And it does
Can I
say-
have this building? Are you
Yeah,
doing
and my extension is 371.
Okay.
So you can just call me, I'll come grab it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I always forget to bring 2 copies. I have court, so I'm gonna
Oh,
skedaddle.
okay.
Give
Okay.
my pen back.
We don't get to keep it?
Go ahead.
Danielle.
No, I'm fine.
This says Cerro Gordo instead of Hardin.
Oh, I must have made a mistake. I'll send you a new copy with
Sounds
correction.
good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Tell me your,
Nancy, Lawson, Auditor's Office, I think
okay.
you emailed.
No, I'll send you an email.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Well, thank you.
Danielle.
Thanks. And no, I borrowed this from the county attorney.
Yeah.
Next, I got Corey Engel regarding the IRVM update.
Alright, well, I just wanted to update you guys on what we've been doing so far this year. Starting in the spring, we do a lot of control burns, and which is very weather dependent. And the spring was definitely not a great spring to be burning. It's either really windy or really wet. And it's also dependent on when crops come out or if they disc fields. Definitely don't want to get a field fire going. So we did get quite a bit. We got 11 acres burned this spring, which is quite a bit. We have a lot more burns we want to get done, and this fall, weather dependent, and when crops come out, we'll be burning a lot more this fall. I did get a grant through the LRTF this year for new prescribed fire equipment for up to $3,000. So we pay 20% of that, and they pay the 80%. So we'll get a whole bunch of new fire equipment this year, clothing and others, tools and stuff. So that helps. Also this spring and summer we started doing our noxious weed spraying, which was just a one-man crew this year, and we were able to get all our blacktop, gravel roads, and level B roads sprayed. With minimal complaints. I mean, there's always going to be a few. We had no complaints on crop damage or drifting, so that's always a plus. Milestone is this chemical we've been using all year. It seems to be working the best. We have no complaints about the Milestone chemical we used. Our county guardrails and shop yards were all sprayed this year, early summer. We usually try to get it at least once, if we have time, twice.
And that's a different crew that
No,
does?
we did that too. It's
One
just
person?
One crew this year. It's me and
Amazing.
our CEO
Good.
on it. We got that as well.
So the new truck works pretty good,
It does work good as long as the wind stays down. It
Yeah.
seems to be pretty effective.
no matter.
Yeah, as long as we had some chemical or some mechanical problems with it early on, but we seemed to get the kinks out, so it seemed to work pretty
Good.
efficient. Seeding projects, we do a lot of clean out sites. When secondary roads does their clean outs of ditches, we come back and seed them. We've got 17 sites done so far this spring. Spring and fall are the times we plant them, totaling 14.5 acres. We do have some restoration sites that we're doing, some areas that are really high in weeds and thistles and noxious weeds, so we want to plant those back to prairie to try to eliminate some of those noxious weeds. So we got about 10 acres, 5 acres planted this spring, and we have about another 5 acres we're doing this fall yet. And also there's plenty more clean out sites that we're doing as well with the hydro seeder, just getting those seeded. Lastly, brush control. That's kind of all year when we have time. We've been doing a lot of brush control. It's not as weather dependent, so even on windy days we can cut brush.
Is that new tractor working fine?
It's working really well on a lot of good mowing for small brush. A lot of the larger trees we still have to cut and chip, but the new tractor we can definitely put some miles on it, and it's been working pretty well. And so, yeah, we've been kind of, if complaints come in, we've been dealing with them as a priority wise. If we need to deal with them right away, we have been.
And that's where my question came in on work orders that are called in. if you're following your brush policy, you might have to skip over your priorities to get to a work order. Is that how it's going to work? Because
Work
it
orders
didn't address work orders.
They kind of come in as, they'll come in and we'll assess them. If it's, we'll look at them and say, yes, this needs to get addressed right away, or if it's just someone who wants some brush cut back, and if it's, we can get to it later in the fall. If it's not a priority, we can wait until we have time to do it. It's kind of how I look at doing work orders. We'll assess them and prioritize them as we get them in.
And with work orders, we've kind of had this issue before. If it's in a stretch of road where there's quite a few people that live along that stretch, how many people need to call in and approve the work order along the route that you're going to take? You know, if there's 3 people that approve it and 4 people that totally object to clearing out that area, how do you handle it?
I guess that's what it says, states in the brush policy that we made. I mean, if it states that if there's brush.
Yeah, if it's in priority, oh yeah, I read through that. Yeah.
And so it's kind of like this, I mean, it's kind of laid out if it's.
If it's a total clean out though, you know, and there's an objection, that's where we've ran into problems
Okay.
before. I just wondered how we were going to address it if we ran into that again. Or
I guess if it's kind of a tweener between what the policy says and if it's kind of objective, we can take it. I mean, we can take it to a public hearing type thing, or get more opinions on it and see why people are wanting it removed and why people don't, and see what the real problem is. I mean, if it's causing problems, even erosion or water, water going through, I mean, that's a reason to take it out. So I guess if there's a clear answer of why we need to take it out, then we will. I'm not going to remove trees just to remove them. There's usually a reason why we're doing it.
yeah, so communication is good.
Communication's a big
yeah.
thing, just to
Excellent.
make everyone aware.
Yeah, if we could handle those issues before we go in, that
I
might
agree.
be better than after post. So, all right. Sounds read great, Corey.
Awesome.
Yep.
So, yeah, if you have any questions, let me know.
I give them to you as I get them.
Perfect.
And I will say, when I give them to you, I've sat there and I know you've called people up and we've worked through them just right away.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, that's usually when we get a complaint or something, we want to fix it right away.
Yep.
So, but sometimes, time constraints, you gotta wait until they have time.
Yep. Well, thank you.
Thanks, Corey.
Thank you.
Next I have is any more questions, I guess?
No.
Okay. Next is I have the Hardin County noxious weed policy.
I would make a motion to approve the Hardin County noxious weed policy.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Are there any real changes on this from the previous years?
Just more, I guess, updated. The last one I found was from, I think, 94, early 90s,
Really?
so it was really vague. So this is just really more updated and more, yeah.
Added a few more weeds.
Yeah, added a few more weeds. They're always popping up.
Any other discussion? Hearing no more, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Now I have the Hardin County brush control policy.
I'll move to approve the Hardin County brush control policy.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on this? Is there anything you want to talk about on this part?
No, I think we just, after some of the complaints we've had and things we had to deal with, I just thought we had to get something more updated, just so it's written clear what our policy is. So I think it'll help with future complaints and about our brush policy.
Totally agree with you.
I think they're both very well written. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
nice job.
very clear.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing no more, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. I have the sheriff's report, quarterly report on the agenda, and we need to table that till next week.
Okay.
I'll move to table a sheriff's quarterly report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Now I have the recorder's monthly report.
I will make a motion to approve the recorder's monthly report for the month of September in the amount of $20,922.60.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next I have is a recommendation on the animal feeding operation permit, Owasso Finisher, Section 15 of Jackson Township. We've tabled this one a couple times. I did talk to the DNR. We could go ahead and move forward with this and put a provision in there subject to the drainage district's engineer's approval for that reroute of that district line. And then he will handle it from there.
The DNR will handle it.
The DNR will handle it.
Yeah, okay.
With that provision was put into the original two-building site that we did previously, and somehow it got overlooked in there, and this is why we've been holding up this one until we got that paperwork. But if we continue this, they can do it all in one. Take care of it all at one time.
I'll move to approve the recommendation on the animal feeding operation construction permit, Owasso Finisher, Section 15, Jackson Township, in lieu of the drainage district needs to be located and approved by the drainage district engineer. Sound okay?
Needs to be,
Drainage district tile.
the tile needs
Drainage
to
district
be.
tile.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So what's the recommendation that you're making?
In lieu of the drainage district engineer to approve the location of the drainage district tile around the site.
So you're recommending approval or based on that?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Some of that, we would need to know the size, the type, the depth of the tile, and the DNR will handle that. Any other discussion? Hearing no more, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next I have is the auditor's monthly report.
Well, I had it.
I'll
Here it
move
is.
to approve. I'll move to approve the auditor's monthly report for a total of $345.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussions? This is for the month of September. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Now I have is acknowledge receipt of an animal feeding operation construction permit, Cimarine Finish Farm Site, Section 7, Sherman Township.
I will make a motion to acknowledge the receipt of the animal feeding operation construction permit, the Simmering Finisher Farm Site, Section 7, Sherman Township.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? This is two buildings at 2,500 head a building site. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Now is to set the date, time and date for the public hearing on the animal feeding operation construction permit, Cimarine Finisher Farm Site, Section 7 of Sherman Township. I have two dates I could choose from, October 26th or November 2nd. November 2nd being the very last day.
Make a motion to set October 26th at 10:02 for the date and time for the public hearing, and that would be here in the conference room. That way we'll have an extra week in case something happened.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Utility permits.
Want to do the
Sure, I'll do it. I'll make the motion to approve the Hardin County utility permit application by the Heart of Iowa Communications for the purpose of installing fiber optics for a new house along SS Avenue between 170th Street and 185th Street, located in Section 12, Jackson Township.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Roads, got anything?
We started interviewing Monday for positions for the road crew and had a resignation given to me yesterday, so we'll have another position to fill.
Can you give them the same pool of applicants?
I don't think so.
Is it truck drivers, road graders?
Yeah. There's union bidding going on too, so when it all washes out, then we'll know.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else for us? All right. Any other business? Hearing none?
Barlow challenges are coming up, and a lot of projects around the county. So I don't choose any one over the other. They're pretty much all listed in the paper. You can look and see the projects that are out there. They're all worthy projects. So look to possibly give to. I know that I've given on a couple, and I think we all have. So good projects out there.
Any other business? Hearing none, I can ask for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. We're adjourned.